What's up, guys? This is Vince the Prince here at NSP Football Talk. Welcome back for another video of grading all 32 NFL teams. Today I'm grading the Houston Texans and their 2023 season. So all three of us, AJ, Reed, and I, have graded the Texans an A+. And I don't think there's too many reasons why you think that they're not an A+. They exceeded expectations. They drafted well. They got a lot of key free agents this last year in the 2023 free agency period. And, of course, in this 2024 free agency period, too. But we'll talk about that later. But I think C.J. Stroud was the cherry on top here. I would have graded them an A- if they didn't have a great quarterback, because they had a great defense and they had a lot of great weapons there that they drafted and got from free agency this past year. So C.J. Stroud's the cherry on top. So I think the Texans are the new it thing, the new team of the NFL that's gonna, create some waves and hopefully become one of the top teams in the NFL soon. But they compete. 10-7 this year. 3 of their losses were within 3 points. The other 4 were, within 2 possessions at least. So they are still going through some growing pains, but DeMeco Ryans and the Texans organization have just done phenomenally within this past year. And yes, it's only been a year, but they're making this Texans team a team to be reckoned with. So we'll get right into it. Of course, again, I'm grading them an A+. Let me know down in the comments what you think they should be graded, but let me give you the reasons why I think they're an A+. So 2023 draft picks. Of course, round 1, pick 2, we got C.J. Stroud at quarterback, the difference maker for this team. He's been phenomenal. And of course, they had the number 3 pick as well, as they traded up with a huge surprise. Moving up to the number 3 pick right after they got C.J. Stroud, and they selected Will Anderson Jr., the edge from Alabama. And he played well. I won't say he was, as at the level of C.J. Stroud, but he played well on the defensive side. So another good pick here. In round 2, at number 62, they drafted a guy named Juice Scruggs at center from Penn State. Right now he's a 3rd string, so again, did not hit here. But in round 3, at pick 69, they got a guy named Nathaniel Dell, or for who you guys may know him as, Tank Dell. Yes, so that's Nathaniel Tank Dell at wide receiver from the University of Houston. So he stayed local here after college, and he's now a Houston Texan. And I'm pretty sure he'll be a Houston Texan for quite a while. But at round 4, pick 109, they got Dylan Horton, defensive end from TCU. Didn't hit. He's a 3rd stringer for them, so pretty much a def piece. But in round 5, they had pick 167, and they drafted from Alabama linebacker Henry To'oto'o. So I'm hoping I'm saying his name right, but he's a 2nd stringer. But the way that they've lost linebackers in this free agency period, I think that he can be not so much a starter, but a rotation player who actually gets in there, makes a difference, maybe is even a play caller when he's out there. But this is a guy who I think can play well. So hopefully it translates well after this mini camp and all these training periods with him. Maybe he'll be the next big thing for Houston on the defensive side. But at pick 201, they had another center drafted there from Notre Dame, Jarrett Patterson. So 6th-round pick. He was their current starter at center here. So, of course, good pick there. He's from Minnesota. Usually Minnesota has a lot of great centers, a lot of great offensive linemen. So Jarrett Patterson was a great pick at the round 6 position. Another round 6 position here was 203. Xavier Hutchinson, wide receiver from Iowa State. He's their 2nd, 3rd stringer at the wide receiver position there because, of course, they have guys like Nathaniel Tank Dell who are, just soaring and being phenomenal. So good depth piece, but again, not the best pick there. But at pick 203, it's a good one. Pick 248 in round 7, they got a guy named Brandon Hill, safety from Pittsburgh. He's their 3rd stringer currently, and I don't see him playing anytime soon, so he might not be a name to be remembered here for the Texans. But at pick 248, good depth piece in case there's injuries. But moving into the 2023 signings, it's another laundry list, guys, but I feel like the Texans did much better than the Panthers. So Dalton Schultz, first off, Devin Singletary, Denzel Perryman, Corey Littleton, Sheldon Rankins, Robert Woods, Noah Brown, Jimmy Ward, Tavir Thomas, Case Keenum, Derek Rivers, Michael Dieter, Hassan Ridgeway, Chase Winovich, Mike Boone, and Andrew Beck. So out of all of those, I believe there's about 16 players. And out of those players, I'd say they kept around 10. So of course that's Dalton Schultz, Robert Woods, Noah Brown, Jimmy Ward, Case Keenum, Andrew Beck, and of course a few others there as depth pieces. But not so bad because a lot of these guys are starters and a lot of these guys do make a difference with the Texans. And I think that's what actually helped them propel to this 10-7 record. So Dalton Schultz just signed on a 3-year, $36 million deal to stay with the Texans. Robert Woods has one more year in his contract. Noah Brown re-signed for 1 year, $5 million. Jimmy Ward has 1 year in his contract. Case Keenum has another year on his contract as well as their backup. And Andrew Beck has 1 more year left for them as their fullback. So a lot of good pieces here in this free agency. But of course, in this next free agency period here in 2024, they added so much more. We'll get to that in a little bit, but let me tell you about their season in a nutshell since I've been explaining it already. But 10-7, way above expectations. They made the playoffs. They beat the Browns in the playoffs, but then they lost to the Ravens out there in the divisional round. So it was a great run for them. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs, win their division, and of course, beat someone and have a playoff win this season. And of course, it was great that they got against the Browns because, of course, you know all that drama with the quarterback that went to the Browns. We won't talk about that too much, but their young coach, D'Amico Ryans, is doing well for the Texans organization. CJ Stroud helps a lot. Will Anderson helps a lot. Tank Dell helps a lot. Dalton Schultz helps a lot. And a couple other guys that help there too. But a lot of these rookies and young guys and free agency pieces really turned this Texans team around. And I think going into the 2024 free agency period, like we are in right now, as well as the 2024 draft, this team can get a whole lot better, even though they are missing a lot of pieces since they lost a few guys in free agency. But a few of the guys that they did add in this free agency period are Danielle Hunter. I mean, defensive end from the Vikings. They got him for 2 years, $49 million dang dollars. We just want one, but this guy got 49 of them. But Danielle Hunter is a guy who can play like bad out of hell. Sorry for my language, but he's a guy that in the NFL is phenomenal. So for them to get him after they lost Grenard and a couple other guys on the defensive line, he's just a piece that's going to help out a lot. And to accompany him on the other side, we got Danico Autry, another defensive end from the Titans. They got him for 2 years, $20 million. I mean, these guys are just going to play well. And to add it as another cherry on top, they got Azeez Al-Shaair, linebacker, or rush edge linebacker, whatever you want to call him, for 3 years, $34 million from the 49ers. So I know AJ is scratching his head here why they didn't get him back, but they got their own defensive guys, and I'm sure in a later video he'll talk about that. But just to add on that defense, I mean, D'Amico Ryans loves adding a lot of these stars. He added Jeff Okudah, and they got him very cheap. He's been bouncing around since he got drafted, but he got 1 year deal, $4.75 million, and of course they're bringing back a couple starters. So I think this free agency period has been pretty good to the Texans. So in addition to bringing back multiple starters, they also got a freaking stud from the Bengals, and that's Joe freaking Mixon. They only paid a 7th round pick for him. Of course, they're going to have to extend him on a contract deal here, but it's Mixon. I mean, this guy runs like an animal out there at the running back position, and this is an area of need for the Texans. They had their running back woes, but the running game was not the key reason why this team was great. And now adding a guy like Joe Mixon to the fold here, I think this makes this offense just as much more deadly because Mixon's a pass catcher. He's a great running back through the tackles, and he's a great running back that has still some good speed at his age. So free agency has been good to the Texans, like I said, and I just think that they're just going to get a whole lot better, especially with the way they draft. Speaking about the draft, let's get right into their picks. So, first round, they got pick 23. not the best, but this is Cleveland's pick through that trade for that one quarterback that we will not talk about. But they also have a second round pick at pick 59. So not a lot of top picks here. But again, I don't think this team needs to get in the top 10. They can trade up, but again, I don't think they need to. They just need a few guys to fill some spaces, especially the linebacker position, especially the defensive tackle position, and if they can, center and right tackle, as they're looking a little low there. But they also have a third round pick at pick 86, fourth round picks at 124 and 128, and some seventh round picks at pick 236, 245, and 250. So a lot of seventh round picks. I think they can get at least one diamond in the rough there. That can be a good depth position player. And of course, in the fourth round, third, second, and first, I think that's their area to definitely get some guys who can possibly start or, make it a starting battle there for whatever position they draft. Of course, again, I think they can still do some work here in the free agency period. They have $56 million left in their cap. Of course, they have to save some for their draft picks, but they still have a lot of money to spread out throughout these years and possibly fill those positions that I've been talking about. So, of course, their plan going forward, draft. Cornerbacks, linebackers, offensive linemen, defensive tackles. I mean, that's the only areas that they really need here. Offense is stacked with players that they can keep for quite a while, of course, after they get Mixon on a contract extension. And, of course, I think the Texans just need to be patient. I think they can get a few more studs in the draft, maybe one more free agency pickup that can really make a difference. But really, they're just right where they started at this past season. They're good, they're young, they have a great coach. Organization seems like it's taking a turn for the better after all that drama that happened a few years ago with them. But I think CJ Stroud was their godsend here. I mean, he's changed this franchise. It seems like this franchise is getting reinvigorated, and a lot of these Texans fans are coming back and getting season tickets. So I would if I was a huge Texans fan. Of course, they're my secondary team, if you want to call it that, but they're my favorite Texas football team. So again, AJ, Reed, and I think that they're an A+. We think they're an A+ moving into the next season, even if they lost a few players, because they just reloaded. And I think the guys that they got are even better. I think they're all upgrades, and I think they're just really looking at getting younger and staying relevant for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. But other than that, guys, that's what I got for the Texans. A+. I think they're doing great. Going to be a good team for the next 5 years, in my opinion. And I think they're just going to get better from here. So we'll see if they can make a Super Bowl run soon. If not, I think they're just going to be a team that definitely wreaks havoc on the league, and it's going to make it just as much harder for the AFC to get to the Super Bowl or, of course, get back to the Super Bowl. But let us know down in the comments what you think. Of course, do you grade them an A? Do you grade them a B? Do you think the Texans are just having a good year and next year they just don't do so well? So let us know down in the comments below. And, of course, as we always say, keep on grinding. Be strong.